Two-part question, if you don't mind. If the second quarter lulls starting to be a trend, and is it a concern? Second part is, because we couldn't see, what does set you off that you got the technical foul?
As far as the second quarter, we've addressed that. And some of it is, the fatigue factor. Some of it is, for some inexplicable reason, we just stopped moving. So I don't know what causes that right now. And it happened a lot today. We just stopped moving, and guys resort to put the ball on the floor and try to play one-on-one, dribble to different spots where they can't do anything with it. So it's just a lot of bad decision making that we have to correct, most of all. The technical was stupid. I didn't say anything for a long time, and I just felt like, I don't know if you want to bring Lou in and you can see the bruises on her body. It's just appalling what teams do to her now. And it's not basketball anymore. I don't know what it is, but it's not basketball. So that was a problem. I thought that was a problem. And more for Lou, not because of anything else, but I just don't like seeing the kid. And she responded amazingly, right? But I don't like to see a kid get manhandled like that, right in front of the officials. And it was just a struggle with them, with not we didn't make enough threes to win the game, plain and simple. We didn't get enough opportunities to, again, because we were standing around watching, and we can't match them 2 for 2. They're going to get a bunch of twos. Offensive rebound 2, foul 3. We got to make up for it the other end, 3, and we didn't do that. So eventually that caught up to us. But it was a struggle with the way the game was being managed. I still want to go watch it. There was a handoff on the sideline right in front of their bench where the kid clearly was standing out of bounds. And I asked them to review it, and they didn't. So I got to learn what the rules are and review. They're not allowed to review it. They're not allowed to make some of the calls they made during the game.
Doug.
Geno. You like playing games later in the season, sort of see where you guys are at this point. It's obviously a really good team in South Carolina. How much is it going to help you if you see them again down the road? You probably have a few more bodies potentially when you play them again, to have this tape to watch and learn from that standpoint. Also, just the atmosphere tonight seemed pretty good for women's basketball, having a sellout first time in 6 years now.
Yeah. I don't know what the exact number is of top 20 teams that we played this year. 8, So we, try to spread them out, November, December, January, February. Try to get as many in there as you can for that particular reason. You can play somebody in our league, and play Villanova or play Creighton, whatever, and you're going to get, you're going to get crazy trying to figure out all the stuff that they do to try to win that game. But that's not indicative of some of the teams that don't look like, let's say, Villanova and Creighton size-wise. And if you don't put yourself in that situation to play these guys, you're always pretending like you're ready. You're not really ready. So can't think too far ahead about, you know, if we see them again in March or April. A lot has to happen for them, a lot has to happen for us. So, we have a really, really difficult game at Marquette on Wednesday, and with this year's team, that's about as far as we allow ourselves to look. And hopefully we get a couple people back sooner rather than later.
Geno, overall though, are you encouraged by this performance, and should your players be, would you say?
I asked them that. I said, do you feel like you're half full or half empty? What do you think? And one guess who said, it's empty, it sucks, we lost. So I acknowledge that, yes, it does. And it's supposed to feel that way. But the way the game was played and the way we responded and the way we controlled the tempo of the game for long, long stretches, and, you know, how we were really, really good for long stretches and how we were really bad for long stretches. And yet we didn't just, you know, go hide and let it become 15, 20, you know, feel sorry for ourselves. So in that respect, they have a lot to feel good about once they get past what it feels like to lose. But I told them, I said, I feel better at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock today than I did at 12 o'clock. Because at 12 o'clock, I really didn't know, you know, how we would respond. I mean, I knew we would play hard because we've been playing hard all year long. I knew we would compete like hell. But I didn't know, like, who was going to make a big play, who was going to get a big rebound, who's going to make a big shot, you know, like things like that. And I know more now than I did at noon, and I feel better about my team. Not that I didn't feel bad about them, better about them before. I felt great about my team before. But I feel really good about them right now, where we are.
Howard and then Alexa.
Hey Geno, for Leah Edwards to have 25 points on 14 shots against, you know, the presumptive #1 pick and, you know, multiple players who are clearly going to be pros in the junior, just take me through what you think it says about where she is as a player and what her ceiling is, frankly.
Well, you know, the interesting thing is she only played 28 minutes because she was in foul trouble. And, you know, that's the part, two things have to happen. One, you know, being aware of how she can't afford to get in foul trouble. And yet at the same time, she's got to play really, really, really hard and really physical and use her body because that's what she has. So that's kind of evolving, okay? And then there's got to be we have to find a way to defensively be better in the lane, our initial defense and our rebounding. And I thought we struggled with that today. So for Leah to score what she scored on a number of shots, sitting out with foul problems, the physicalness of, you know, their big guys, she showed a lot of different ways to score. And, you know, whatever they're talking about for the pros or whatever for next year for the seniors, I think when she's a senior, I think there'll be a lot of people lined up and I think she's going to become a better shooter, you know, every week, every month. I think she's set an All-American season, when you think about it. Where would we be without her, given what's happened? And she's played great in, most of our big games.
Alex Edwards.
Geno, when you talk about the team, knowing that they've come out and compete and the way that they were able to respond to every South Carolina run and keep it competitive down to the very end, where do you think that grit comes from? Because even in the last time you guys played South Carolina, it wasn't as back and forth and competitive.
Yeah. Sometimes, you come home from an NCAA tournament and when you're young, you think, I have unlimited amounts of these. Be in the Final Four every year, and then we're going to win the national championship. So you come home from the Final Four and you lost. The older you get, the more it really forces you to take a hard look at what's going on here. And I think this team, the older guys, especially Nika, Leah, those two, and Aubrey to a certain extent. I think they know. We don't have a lot of time left as a team together, and they believe in each other, they support each other, they hold each other accountable. They know none of them are gonna, disappoint them by not showing up, by not playing hard, by not competing. So I think there's like a huge amount of trust among themselves that maybe it's a little more than it was in the past.
And then Roger.
Just drawing back to the technical foul, was that from the accumulation of a lot of fouls going, divvied out between Nika Mule and Leah Edwards, or was that more based on how you thought that Lou Lopez Seneschal was kind of being treated throughout the game?
There's, as I said, there's the way the game is played is the way the game's called is gonna impact how the game is played. And you as a player and you as a coach have to make some adjustments to how the game is being called that day. And I just thought that there were a lot of things going on that were being overlooked. And it was very difficult for some of our guys to move out on the floor. So I don't think it was one key play. It was just, I just couldn't keep quiet any longer. So it was bad. But they get 4 points on that play. They got 4. I mean, we get off their technical 2. Right. -2. So yeah, dumb mistake by me. But bad decision.
Roger.
Geno, you said in order to win going in, you guys had to have great performances from both Leah and from Aubrey. Can you talk about the way Aubrey responded today? I mean, overall, just a strong game for you guys.
Yeah, I thought Aubrey came out really aggressive right from the opening tap, which is something that we've been talking about. There's been quite a number of games where she starts off very slowly, and then picks it up as the game goes on. And I talked to her about we couldn't afford to do that today. Couldn't afford to have her wait till halftime before she changed into another gear. It had to start that way, and it pretty much did. I thought her ability to get to the basket was really crucial. And, her defense was really good. And I thought Leah, the same thing, her ability to get to the basket. And, we needed those two to score in order for us to have a chance to win the game. And, we probably needed a couple more buckets from a couple other people, but I think those two played about as well as I wanted them to play, for sure.
Geno, you said you were, pleased with the competitiveness of guys, and it was a very different game than we played it the last time. Just with the rebounding though, and you look up and see it like on the stat sheet, I think they had 25 offensive rebounds. So, I don't know, can you speak to that a little bit and just the difficulty in keeping a team like them off the offensive boards?
Yeah, it's, I would say, maybe undoable if they're gonna play like that. If they're gonna play where the focus of their attack is gonna be inside every single possession. So unless you have 4 6'5" guys that you can throw out there and just keep rotating them and don't worry about the foul situation, it's maybe for other teams they have a better chance of, but for us, I don't know that we, that we have an answer for it completely. Now, there were 6 or 7 times, and this is a big play, 6 or 7 times we were here, we were in position, here's the ball, here's our hands, and they come up with it and get a bucket. And it's just 4 points, right? And especially if there's a foul. 2, we could have got down that end, 3, they just got here. And that happened 4 or 5 times. So yeah, they're gonna get their share, but you also can't let them have the ones that you have. So that's an issue. And can it get fixed? To a certain degree, but still comes down to you gotta score points against them. I mean, even our defense last year, what they scored in the national championship game, 62, 63? Huh?
64.
64 in the national championship game. But we got like 49. So, at least today, I think we put points up on the board, but we just couldn't get stops when we needed them. I was encouraging that we could score that many points, given how many points we had on the bench.
Was your ability to get to the rim just a byproduct of them pressuring on the perimeter and trying to take the threes away?
Yeah, and that was something that we talked about a lot. And the way the game ideally would be played. I remember we played a game against Tennessee years ago, and we got out rebounded by 22. I think they had 22 offensive rebounds. And we won by 23 or 24 because we made so many shots that it didn't matter how many offensive rebounds they got because they couldn't convert on all of them. Well, now the double whammy today, they rebounded, they converted on a huge percentage of them, and we didn't get enough shots at the other end. So we needed to trade some of our threes for their twos, and we just couldn't do that today.
Lou had a couple of big buzzer beaters, 19 points. Just what is it about her ability to stay poised, that she's able to come up big in these big games, kind of like Tennessee?
Lou?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lou got really pissed at one point, and I think maybe that was the spurt that she had. I think she just got really pissed. There was a lot going on out there, and I think she just started being really, really, really much more aggressive, and we started finding her more, before. So one of the points of the game going in was we wanted to play a lot of one-on-one. You know, we wanted Lou to play one-on-one against Leah. We wanted Aubrey to play one-on-one. We wanted Leah to play one-on-one. Even Nika, you know, started the game getting into the lane. So we wanted that to be a big part of our game. But we didn't augment that by making 10 threes. And that was a lot to do to them because they just weren't going to give us those.
Coach, you guys obviously played, you know, Tennessee not too long ago, was close at times, and then this is obviously another close game. I guess just going against SEC opponents, is there anything, I guess with them specifically that, you know, kind of makes for such a challenging game, and, you know, just kind of what is it like going against squads from that conference?
I think the difference in styles of play, I think, are what I think is unique about it. You know, I think maybe even within the SEC, they have a different style of play among each other, but you know, there's a certain style of play in the SEC where it is a very post-oriented, pound the ball inside, you know, very physical kind of game. And our team is put together 180 different right now compared to some of the teams in the SEC. And that usually leads for good games. You know, two teams that are very, very, you know, very far apart in their style of play and what they're trying to accomplish, the chess matches that go on, you know. So between the SEC, ACC, you know, we try to get as many games with people who have a different style of play than we do as often as we can, you know. You know, we won our share most of the time and we lost our share. But you always come out of it knowing that in the NCAA tournament, at some point, you're gonna have to beat teams like that, and you don't want it to be the first time you ever played them.
You know, Geno, you guys were down 12 with a little over 2 minutes left. For them to, you know, come together to make that, you know, final push, weren't able to get it done. But just how does that kind of epitomize the, you know, fight this group has shown all year?
Yeah, it's not surprising. It's something that I've seen throughout the year. It's, you know, we were down 15 to Iowa, I think, at one point, down in Oregon. And, you know, we've been, you know, I want them to be unemotional, but yet be emotional. Like, it's not easy to do, right? To be calm, in control of the game, and don't let your emotions run crazy, and then you start doing things, you know, just wasting energy, and you get yourself in trouble. So I think even when we got down 12, there was a sense of calmness about us that we're gonna keep getting opportunities here. We just got to convert. This team has tremendous belief in themselves, and even under the circumstances that they're in, that hasn't wavered. Maybe it's gotten even stronger.
Mike and then Dom.
Geno, ideally, how many 3-pointers are you attempting in a game like that? Did you have a number in mind for how many 3-pointers you should need to make to win a game like that?
I thought between Lou, Dorka, and if you give Dorka a couple, give Lou 2 or 3, give Aubrey maybe 1 or 2, give Nika maybe 1. You know, maybe we come out of there somewhere around 10, and that's 30 points, and that might offset how many second chance points they get, you know. So, well, I'm surprised we scored that many points with so few threes. How many free throws did we shoot?
Shot 25.
Yeah, we shot 25. Man, we shot a lot of free throws, almost as many as 36. There were a lot of fouls called in that game. 5 fouls called in that game.
Geno, just housekeeping, nuts and bolts, but is there anything new regarding AZ and Carolina? And obviously, you've mentioned a lot about the three-pointers. Do you think about, or maybe the players think about, what a different result it could be if you face a team, this team or a team like it, and you've got that little more firepower?
Yeah. I just saw AZ and Paige were standing outside, and I said, Paige, you playing in March? She goes, yep. And I said, how about you, AZ? She goes, a lot sooner than that, hopefully. So, I think AZ was being truthful. Paige was lying her ass off. Caroline, it's progressing to the point where if she can get through a couple practices in a row now in one piece, then either Wednesday or maybe next Saturday at Georgetown could possibly be a return for her. It's all a matter of how she responds after the workouts. During the workouts, you know, it goes pretty good, and then after, sometimes it's not so good, and sometimes it is good, so we're trying to monitor that. But, and it's really frustrating because you watch her out there, and I mean, her range is even better than it's ever been, her release is even quicker than it's ever been, and it's just, what are you gonna do? You feel sorry for them.